Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. In this podcast, I preview the conference finals of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. In this podcast, I preview each of the conference finals matchups in the 2024 NHL playoffs and who I think will win each series. The Eastern Conference Finals is between the New York Rangers and Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers eliminated the Boston Bruins in 6 games with a 2-1 win in Game 6 of the second round at TD Garden in Boston last Friday, one day after New York eliminated Carolina with a 5-3 win in Game 6 at PNC Arena in Raleigh. The Panthers are in the conference finals for the second year in a row. As for the Rangers, they are in the conference finals for the second time in 3 seasons. The Rangers, who are 55-23-4 during the regular season, are the number 1 seed from the Metropolitan Division and will have home ice advantage against the Panthers, who were 52-24-6 during the regular season and were the number 1 seed from the Atlantic Division. The New York Rangers and Florida Panthers have only faced each other once in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that was back in the 1997 Eastern Conference quarterfinals, when the New York Rangers defeated the Florida Panthers to advance to the semifinals. The Florida Panthers have a 2-1 record against the New York Rangers in the 2023-24 regular season, while outscoring them 12-8. Because these two teams don't really have much bad blood between each other yet, it could take a game for the bad blood between them to really start heating up. Key players in this matchup for the New York Rangers: forwards are Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, Vincent Trocheck, Alexis Lafreniere, and Kaapo Kakko. Defensemen: Adam Fox, Braden Schneider, K'Andre Miller, and Jacob Trouba. The X Factor is Alexander Wenberg. Key forwards for Florida: Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Carter Verhaeghe, Vladimir Tarasenko, Sam Bennett, and Anton Lundell. Key defensemen for Florida: Aaron Ekblad, Brandon Montour, and Gustav Forsling. The X Factor for Florida is Eetu Luostarinen. The goalie matchup in this series is Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers against Sergei Bobrovsky for the Panthers. Mika Zibanejad, who has 3 goals and 11 assists in the playoffs, and Vincent Trocheck, who has 6 goals and 8 assists, each have 14 points in the playoffs to lead the Rangers in scoring in the playoffs. Artemi Panarin has 11 points with 4 goals and 7 assists, and Chris Kreider has 7 goals and 3 assists. Alexis Lafreniere has 4 goals and 6 assists for 10 points. Although not reflective in the points this postseason, Adam Fox is a standout defenseman for the Rangers and is crucial on both ends of the ice for the Rangers. He, alongside captain Jacob Trouba, K'Andre Miller, and Braden Schneider, play heavy minutes against other teams' top players. Igor Shesterkin holds down the fort in goal and has played in all 10 games for the Rangers, going 8-2 with a 2.40 GAA and .923 save percentage. The New York Rangers have 35 goals for versus 26 goals against, or a 3.50 goals for per game average versus a 2.60 goals against per game average, and have averaged 36.1 shots per game versus 32.5 shots against per game during the 2024 playoffs. Matthew Tkachuk leads the Panthers in the Stanley Cup playoffs with 14 points, 4 goals, and 10 assists. And Alexander Barkov has 13 points, 5 goals, and 8 assists. Carter Verhaeghe has 11 points, 6 goals, and 5 assists, while Sam Reinhart, who had 57 goals in the regular season, has 5 goals and 9 points. The Panthers' defense is led by the big 3 of Aaron Ekblad, Gustav Forsling, and Brandon Montour. These 3 defensemen play heavy minutes against other teams' top lines. Sergei Bobrovsky has started every playoff game for the Panthers this postseason, going 8-3 with a 2.37 GAA and .902 save percentage. He will need to be spectacular in this series for the Panthers to advance. The Florida Panthers have 39 goals for versus 27 goals against, or 3.55 goals for per game average versus 2.45 goals against per game average, and are averaging 33 shots per game versus 24.1 shots against per game in the 2024 playoffs. Special teams will play a significant role in this series. The Rangers' power play, led by Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad, is lethal, operating at 31.4%. While the Panthers' power play, led by Alexander Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk, hasn't been very good. converting on just 19.5% of their power play opportunities. Both teams have strong PK units. The Rangers have killed off 89.5% of their penalties, while the Panthers have also been impressive, killing off 86.1% of their penalties. The keys to this series is going to be the Sam Bennett versus Vincent Trocheck matchup or the Panarin versus Matthew Tkachuk line, because the Zibanejad and Barkov matchup is going to be a wash and will cancel each other out. So it will be up to the Tkachuk or Panarin line to score. One thing to watch out for in this series is how physical the Panthers play against the star players for the Rangers. Florida did a tremendous job of shutting down star players such as Kucherov and Pasternak. If they can do the same to Panarin, this matchup would highly favor Florida. As always, the New York Rangers will have to rely on strong goaltending from Igor Shesterkin and utilize their speed and skill to create offensive opportunities. They will also have to capitalize on their power play chances because Florida is tremendous 5-on-5. For Florida, they need to maintain a well-balanced attack with contributions from all lines, play physical and wear down the Rangers' skilled players, and leverage their depth and experience to control the pace of the game. This series could go either way, but it will likely come down to which team can execute their game plan more effectively and which goaltender can make the crucial saves when needed. Expect a hard-fought series and closely contested series with the potential for 7 games. My prediction is that the Florida Panthers win the series in 7 games. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/hockeywiz777scouting. The Western Conference Finals is between the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers. The Dallas Stars defeated the Colorado Avalanche in 6 games to advance to the Western Conference Finals with a 2-1 victory in overtime of Game 6 in Colorado, courtesy of a Matt Duchene game-winning goal. The Edmonton Oilers punched their ticket into the Western Conference Finals by hanging on to defeat the Vancouver Canucks in Game 7 of their series. The Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers have faced each other multiple times in the NHL playoffs, particularly during the late 90s and early 2000s. From 1997 to 2001, the two teams faced each other in the playoffs 5 times, with the Dallas Stars being one of the powerhouse teams in the Western Conference in those years, having a 4-1 edge in those matchups. The two teams have not faced each other in the playoffs since the 2001 Western Conference quarterfinals, so it could take some time for them to reignite their rivalry. The Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers have faced each other 3 times in the 2023-24 season, with the Dallas Stars having an edge in the series 2-1 and outscoring Edmonton 12-7. Key players in this matchup for Dallas: forwards Jason Robertson, Joe Pavelski, Roope Hintz, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson, Matt Duchene, and Tyler Seguin. Defensemen Miro Heiskanen, Thomas Harley, Chris Tanev, and Lisa Lindell. The X factor for Dallas is Logan Stankoven. Key forwards for Edmonton: Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, and Vander Kane. Key defensemen for Edmonton: Evan Bouchard, Matthias Ekholm, and Darnell Nurse. The X factor for Edmonton is Dylan Holloway. The goalie matchup in this series is Jake Ottinger for Dallas against Stuart Skinner for Edmonton. Miro Heiskanen leads the Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup playoffs with 13 points. Jason Robertson has 12 points, while Wyatt Johnson has 11 points. Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn both have 8 points apiece, while rookie Logan Stankoven has 6. Matt Duchene, who was a free agent signing and scored the series-clinching goal against Colorado, also has 6 points. Thomas Harley is paired with Miro Heiskanen. That pair will be tasked with facing the top offensive line of the Oilers, which means they will be facing Connor McDavid. Lisa Lindell and Chris Tanev have also been a good shutdown pair in the playoffs. That pair will be tasked with facing Leon Draisaitl, the leading point scorer in the playoffs. Dallas is backstopped by Jake Ottinger, who has an 8-5 record in the playoffs with a 2.09 GAA and .918 save percentage. He has been a major reason why Dallas was able to defeat Vegas and Colorado. Dallas has 38 goals for versus 31 goals against, or a 2.92 goals for per game versus 2.38 goals against per game, and have averaged 28.8 shots per game versus 27.5 shots against per game. Leon Draisaitl leads the Oilers and the league in points with 24. 4. Just behind him is Connor McDavid, who has actually struggled to score goals, but has still put up 21 points and is second on the team and the league in points. Evan Bouchard, who has really come into his own on the offensive end, has 6 goals and 19 points, good for third on the team and third in the league in points. Edmonton also has the leading goal scorer in the league during the playoffs in Zach Hyman, who has 11 goals this postseason. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been somewhat quiet, but he also has 16 points this postseason and was critical in the Game 7 victory over Vancouver. Other than Evan Bouchard, the defensemen tasked with logging heavy minutes for the Oilers include Matthias Ekholm and Darnell Nurse. The Edmonton Oilers have used both Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard in net. Skinner is 6-3 with a 2.97 GAA and .881 save percentage, while Pickard is 1-1 with a 2.21 GAA and .915 save percentage. The Edmonton Oilers have 46 goals for versus 33 goals against, or 3.83 goals for per game average versus 2.75 goals against per game average, and have averaged 29.8 shots per game versus 24.5 shots per game during the 2024 playoffs. Line matching will be very critical for the Dallas Stars in this series. They need to have Miro Heiskanen and Thomas Harley matched up against Connor McDavid. The Wyatt Johnston line with Jamie Benn and Logan Stankoven will also likely get playing time against McDavid as well, as they are physical and good on both ends of the ice. Matching up against the leading point scorer in the league, Leon Draisaitl, could be a tall task, especially if you use all your top shutdown guys against McDavid. But Dallas also has a really good second shutdown pair of Issa Lindell and Chris Tanev, and the line with Roope Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Joe Pavelski will likely be matched up against Draisaitl. With Roope Hintz back in the lineup, Matt Duchene will be the third line center with Tyler Seguin and Mason Marchment. This third line gives Dallas a huge advantage over Edmonton in terms of depth scoring. The biggest difference in this series could be goaltending, and it's certainly a tale of two stories. For Dallas, Jake Ottinger has been stellar, while Stuart Skinner has been subpar. Special teams will certainly play a significant role in this series. While the Stars' power play has been solid, operating at 29% in the playoffs, the Edmonton Oilers have the best power play in the playoffs, operating at 37.5%. Dallas's power play has struggled, killing off just 76.9% of their penalties, but those numbers took a hit as they had to face Colorado in the second round. On the other hand, the Edmonton Oilers PK has been great this postseason. They have the league's top-ranked PK, killing off 91.4% of their penalties. Although on paper, Dallas is the more balanced team and has better goaltending, Edmonton has the 3 top point scorers in the playoffs in the league, so I would say this series is actually pretty even. Expect an exciting series, and the difference to this series could ultimately be special teams. My prediction is that the Edmonton Oilers win this series in 7 games. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. It is going to be interesting to see how the conference finals will play out and who advances to the Stanley Cup Finals. In my next podcast, I do an update on the conference finals.